dad in the shower just having a conversation to himself.
Does your mom call you Hey Tight?
No.
I'm just kidding. She calls you Seven of Spades, right?
I wish I could change that name, honestly, like...
What, Seven of Spades?
No, Hey Tight, like... I use the one free name change that PlayStation gives you for that, and I'm just like, that was...
It's all good. Let me get this link done.
Yeah.
We are live now, so it's gonna take a second, I think, for people to start filtering in.
If you need a camera, Tac Delta's the first one out.
Is it? There's a lot of people out, actually.
Yeah, but he's the farthest one into a time to lap right now. He's going through Sector 3 right now.
Okay, let's go on with Tac.
And it looks like we have a Renault off at the beginning of turn 3. That appears to be Monkey Kill.
So Tac went straight into the pits. He must have got damage. Alright, so there's a Haas behind him. I think that's Nick, Sparkplugs. He invalidated.
Damn.
Yeah, that's tough, huh? Let me do this really quick as well. I want to check the audio levels. Give me 1 sec.
And Nico Johns has the first time lap of the 136.5 as we see Shep rounding the penultimate corner, and he sets a 137.4. So a bit of a time difference, almost a second. But then again, it is their first lap, so we're probably going to see a lot of improvement as the session goes on.
That's a pretty good lap from Shep. Great lap from Nico.
Superman sets a 140. He was probably playing it really careful that lap. You know, it is very easy to smack into the wall around Vietnam if you're, you know, kind of reckless with the car.
But yeah, I think I saw Nico John doing even some into the 34, so look out for Nico John. Seems like he's really on the pace for this race.
Yep.
Who else is out there? Looks like there's the Best Bonds is coming around the final corner. He's been pretty quick. He puts it into 6th with a 137.9. Nice lap. The other, it looks like Cheeseheads, the other Racing Point, jumped into the pits. So
he was on the mediums?
He is on the medium, so I don't know why he didn't set a time, though.
Maybe invalidated?
Yeah, so Bacon is in the chat. What's up, Bacon? How's it going, dude? I'm joined today by Hey Tight. Say hello to everybody, Hey Tight.
Hello.
So for everyone that's tuning in, thank you for tuning in. This is round 3. Round 3 of the Tier 2 Championship here at Vietnam. What do you think about Vietnam, Hey Tight?
It's not one of my favorite tracks, to be honest, and it's a very technical street circuit. And, you know, I find it very hard to really just keep it out of the walls, personally. It's just, like, Sector 3 is just a front wing killer all the way if you want to get a good time through that.
I agree. I mean, I think there's going to be some instances where we see people doing a lot of pit stops. So, but at the same time, I think this is going to be one of those races where if you can be the car that just keeps it consistent, even if you may not be the fastest outright in terms of the pace, if you're going to be making up positions with all these people who are going to have to pit and then, you know, having to come out behind you and all that. So I think the ones who can keep it the most consistent can shoot for a top 5 here.
Definitely.
So let's see. Looks like there is a Mercedes of Nero. This is now his 3rd lap on these mediums. He hasn't set a time yet, so it looks like he keeps invalidating.
I think I have a glitch in my spectator board. It says he's on 0 lap softs, but...
Yeah, he's on mediums. And he just invalidated again, so now he'll have to finish his 3rd lap and do a 4th. This could be throwing a spanner and just works for his pit strategy, because if he's on mediums, then surely he's going to be doing a 1-stop, right?
Definitely. It is possible. This is one of those tracks where tire wear isn't as big as an issue. Like Bahrain was really bad for your tires last race.
Yeah, Bahrain's tough with a lot of the really high-speed corners. I think here the only real high-speed section is like Sector 3.
Yeah, I'd say, but it definitely doesn't have a lot of those sweeping corners that change in elevation a lot. So.
Yeah, not quite as much. But the thing is that this, I don't know about the one stop, because the one stop is a viable strategy. Well, one will be the soft to hard, the easier one will be the medium to hard. But those hard tires, I don't know if they have any pace, so I'm not sure exactly what they're going to try to do here. It looks like Nero has backed off.
Tac Delta was on a flying lap, but he ended up invalidating as he misjudged the braking zone and locked up, so...
Oh, that's unfortunate.
He might stay out, which is definitely possible, but he's probably just going to head into the pits, switch to a new set of softs, refuel, and come back out.
Yeah, gather himself and whatnot. And Spurlin just started his lap, so we'll see where he can place this Red Bull, because Spurlin's been pretty quick.
Yeah, he's definitely got to watch out for when it comes to the Drivers' Championship.
So, Best Fon's in the pits, Superman in the pits, looks like Sully in the pits as well. Spulin just set his fastest Sector 1. So let's stay on board with Spulin. NAFTA is in the chat. What's up, NAFTA? NAFTA saying that he was sad not to see Vietnam in real life. I actually kind of agree there. I think Vietnam would have been a crazy race to see, like, you know, the actual F1 guys do it.
Yeah, definitely. It has that very weird honor being a track that was supposed to happen and only appears in an F1 game.
It never did. It's so weird, right? Alright, so let's see what Spulin can do. It looks like he's got the car of McLaren ahead of him, so not sure what's going to happen here. Spulin is going to hope...
They're both on hot laps, so it's not like McLaren's going to be willing to get out of his way, but it looks like they'll both be able to keep their distance, set a good time as they round.
Oh, man, and Spulin is impeded so bad, but again, there's not much McLaren can do about that because McLaren's just trying to go as fast as possible. So Spulin, I think he did a decent job, all things considered, but he probably lost half a second easily, I think.
Definitely. We could have seen him probably go into the 136.9s with that, but...
I think so. That's okay. So he'll be able to jump into the pits, get on a new set of tires, and give it another go. So who else is that? It looks like TESD is going to start a hot lap. Oh, and he has some contact with the wall. So does he have damage? No. So it looks like he doesn't have damage.
It's going to be slowed down a bit going down the pit straight, so he's going to probably lose maybe a couple of hundredths there, but
and
he ends up...
Yeah, he misses his brake point for turn 1.
That's a really tricky turn. Like, you think you could probably get away with going a bit harder on the brakes, but you gotta get a bit earlier just so you can turn the car in around the apex.
Yeah, you gotta get it slowed down a lot. It really does feel like you should be able to brake it around the 50 mark, but you kind of have to brake closer to the 100.
TSD invalidates his lap. He's probably going to head back in and switch to a new set.
Yeah, so let's go on board with Rusty. Rusty's crossing the line. Let's see what he can do, because he's actually sitting in 4th right now, so great spot from Rusty so far. Rusty's one of those guys that I think has improved so much that if he can keep it consistent in terms of his races, he could be scoring top 5s every race, I think. So he's showing right now with that pace that he should be in that top 5.
Definitely. Now, is this a Tilka track, or is this just like a different designer? Because it gives me a lot of Tilka vibes with the sweeping left-handers that
I'm not sure, but Grumpy just put it on pole with the 136 flat. It's a great lap from Grumpy.
Ooh, that was an incredible one. Almost a 135, which we probably are going to see a lot of in Tier 1 race, or maybe a tiny bit of, as looking through the time trial sheets, we're definitely getting a lot of 134s in the higher tiers, but then again, time trial isn't really indicative of qualifying pace, because then if you just have a bad lap, you can just reset it, which you can't really do in qualifying.
That, and it's a lot more difficult to do when the pressure's on and the time's running out and all that.
And it's just you on the track, so, you know, you're definitely going to have some track congestion, which I can see probably being a big problem in Sector 3, considering how it's slower than the rest of the sectors, and it's very technical, so if you run into somebody else there, it's going to be very difficult to keep your lap time while not hitting the person ahead of you.
That, and so I did confirm that the Hanoi Street Circuit was designed by Toke. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. So Rusty does not improve, so he's still at a 137.2. He's in 5th place at the moment because it looks like well, Grumpy and Monkey Pill. So Monkey Pill put in a lap just after Grumpy did. He's a couple tenths shy. And Nero as well. Nero is the 136.3 so far in the soft tires.
It's really close from, I'd say, P1 to about P10. It's like barely, like almost 2-second difference, but just looking at these times, they're so close together.
They are very close. Let's see, who else is out there? Sully is out there. Sully joining a new member of the Alfa Romeo team.
Placing Kimi.
Yeah, replacing Kimi. They finally gave Kimi the boot. So what else is happening right now? Looks like there's a Ferrari in the pits. Monkey Pill is coming around the final corner. So let's see if he improves here. He does improve.
135.9, the first one that we'll see, and I'm predicting that we might see Grumpy, Nero, and maybe even Nico get into the 135s.
I think Paul will be somewhere in the mid to low 135 tier once everyone jumps back into the pit for a new set of tires. But that's a great lap for Monkey Pill because he improved by 0.3 in that run.
Yeah, definitely going to be a nice shootout towards the end of the session.
So let's see, Tac Delta has retired from the session. It looks like he's got damage.
Yeah, let's get on with Soup and see if we can get a good shot of
Tac. Oh yeah, I saw it from Tac's perspective. I think we'll also see it from Nero's. And Nero put it on pole with a 135.7. Yeah, so Tac's out. Terminal damage for Tac Delta, so that's going to be a tough break because he's sitting all the way down at 12.
And we still have TSC trying to set a time. I think he's warming up the tires and is going to soon set a hot lap, but
yeah,
he might only have time for one, so he's got to make this lap count. Doesn't have to be the quickest, but you got to at least set a time.
I think he'll be able to cross the line, start a hot lap, and then he won't have time to jump back into the pits, but I think he will have time to do 2 hot laps.
Also depends on how much fuel he's put in that, because
that too. Yeah, that's
some people will just like 1 lap, maybe start to run out towards the end of your in lap.
Yeah, that's me, pretty much.
Me, like I've run out of fuel pretty much half of my race in Tier 1.
In qualifying or in the race?
Qualifying.
So we're still on board with TESD. Let's see what he can do, because again, this is the only person that has not set a time yet. And I gotta say, the new Alpine Renault livery, it does look really nice. I mean, what are your thoughts on that new livery?
Oh my god. My jaw dropped when I saw that. It's just like...
It's a beautiful livery, right?
The blue and the red and the black just work so well, and I'm so happy to see Renault, well technically now Alpine, changed up, because for the past couple of years we've just seen yellow or yellow and black, so...
But you know what I was going to say is, I'm going to miss that white or yellow and black livery. I think it's a beautiful livery, actually.
I think it's solid, but it's one of those liveries that gets older as the season progresses, where it's just like, you know, kind of simple, maybe change it up a little bit.
I think it's time. And so, speaking of time, TESD just set the fastest Sector 2 time.
Let's see how he does through Sector 3.
Yeah, it's very tricky through here.
It looks like he's going to keep his lap from getting invalidated as he approaches the penultimate corner. Let's see if he's going to be able to get around it well. He does.
Yeah, pretty nice through there. So he does set a time. It's only good enough for 14th, though, at the moment. So, tough qualifying for TESD, but he'll have every chance to improve that in the race. And
Superman validates his lap.
Spulin just put it set a 136.1. That's good enough for 6th. So, Spulin finally getting a clean run. Good for Spulin on that one.
Nico John is now on provisional pole as he sets a 135.2. That is definitely going to be hard to beat by the rest of the competition.
Yeah, Nico John is flying. This whole week in his preparation, he's been going so fast. It's unbelievable. Really nice lap from Nico John. Superman starting his hot lap, so he'll have a chance to finish. I think Superman will be the last of the runners to cross the line in time because there's a Ferrari. But I don't think that Ferrari's going to cross the line in time. Yeah, that's Shep. So Shep is finishing up his hot lap. And he does improve, so he improves to 136.6, which is good enough for 7th.
We have Grumpy on a hot lap going through Sector 3.
Yeah, so let's stay on board, Grumpy. But he's half a second slow. Yeah, he aborts.
Yeah, I think he clipped the wall and just lost a lot of time.
He aborts, so that'll be it for Grumpy. He's down in P5. Not bad for Grumpy, though. Let's go on board as Rusty. So does Rusty improve? He's currently 9th with the 137.2.
He does.
He does improve. It's good enough for one position. Let's see who else.
I don't want to. Okay, we have Cheeseheads who might be able to get pole if his time. Oh no, he's aborting.
No, and he aborts. He aborts. So let's see who else. Like Superman is the last one done.
Let's see, going through Sector 3, hoping to improve off of 140.
And he jumps straight into the pits. Yeah.
So Nico John is our pole sitter.
Wow, what a lap from Nico John. Really great to see, too, because it seems like Nero has been the front runner for these last few races, which is fine, but, you know, just like the real F1, sometimes you want to see someone give him a good run, right? So Nico John's doing that here today, which is great to see. Team Williams back into the fold on the front row. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, definitely. It's been a while since we've seen Williams this quick around some of the races. I don't really know what to say right now.
Who was the last Williams that was doing really good? Wasn't that like Pablo Montoya? Juan Pablo Montoya? That was like the last time Williams was like really good. Maybe Bottas. When Bottas was at Williams, they were still decent. I think fighting for like podiums.
Yeah, Bottas and Massa, I think, were the last competition. I mean, Maldonado had the last Williams win, which take that as you will.
Yeah. So there's the results, guys. Nico John, Nero locking out the front row. Williams, Mercedes. Cheeseheads, though. Cheeseheads did really good to put it in P3. So he'll be starting on the second row. Now, also on the second row, Monkey Pill. Monkey Pill has been the one that's been giving Nero the closest run, so we'll see what he can do. But just behind him is Grumpy. And just behind him is Spulin. It's a pretty tight field.
Yeah, really, really tight.
It's going to be really tight. I think this is going to be one heck of a race.
It's definitely going to be a race of attrition. We're going to see, like, who, as you said before, can be consistent and keep it out of the wall. Because, you know, if the rest of your competition has to pit constantly for a new front wing, or slowed down by an almost broken front wing, you're definitely going to have an advantage there. Did he ditch me again? Hello, stream. Just waiting for everybody to load in. We got strategies. Now, it looks like the one stop is probably going to be the prevalent strategy, but then again, as we previously said with the front wing situation, we're probably going to see more than a one stop. And this start is definitely going to be one of the more trickier starts, as street circuits are always very nerve-wracking when it comes to starts, because you're just so close together and there's not a lot of room in case somebody messes up for you to avoid them. Because if you just have a normal circuit, you could probably head off the main track and just avoid a collision. But on a street circuit, you have walls on each side, so it's either slam into the wall or risk it and maybe slam into the car ahead.
Well, I think you raised a good point, is that here, like most of the street circuits, you know, Monaco, Baku, I may be missing others, but there's no margin for error.
Yeah.
Absolutely no margin for error. So that was another thing that I was even going to bring up. What are the keys to the race here? And I think one of the biggest keys is patience. Forcing a move in some of these roundabouts or in these very tight sections like turn 1, which goes right into turn 2. Forcing a move is likely going to end in demise for people. It's gonna turn into incidents. People are gonna get spun. They're gonna lose a wing. I think those who can be patient and consistent, wait for their opportunities. There's a long DRS straight. I think we can see those who are patient making up a lot of positions and having a great race. But we'll see. It's always easier said than done.
There's a reason why Jeff tells you no heroics and descend about no matter where you are on the grid.
I want to hire that guy because I want that guy to type in onto our Discord right before the race too, just to remind everybody. You would hope that everyone knows better in turn 1 here, but we're gonna see because it's kind of just human nature, right? You see an opportunity and you want to pounce. It's hard to hold back sometimes.
And, of course, if you had a qualifying session that you weren't happy with, you're definitely going to be a lot more eager to make up positions at the start.
Yeah, because you feel like you're coming back from behind already.
Yep.
We will see how that works out.
What are your thoughts on the new Williams livery?
You know what? Actually, I like it a lot. I actually like all the liveries a lot, all of them.
I think it's a decent livery, but if they just took away the light blue stripes that are on the middle it's there just for some reason, it would definitely be better. It just is.
I think they're holding on to a little bit of that old color. That's all.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. So.
And then you have. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Then you have Aston Martin, which is just a great livery with just a good green with that little pink stripe. I mean, some people would probably call it the watermelon, but it's just a solid livery.
You know what would make that car better, even? If it went fast as well. So we know that racing point was pretty decent, So I'm actually pretty excited for the season to start. It looks like the guys are going to get going here momentarily to start their formation lap. But really quickly, let's run you through the standings. So we've got Nero in P1. He's on Team Mercedes, 53 points. Grumpy, P2, 35 points. Monkey Pill is P3 with 34. And then Bro Controller is also in P3 with 34. So just behind them in 5th, we have Nico John with 26 points. In 6th place, we got the Best Pawns, Team Racing Point, 25 points. TESD in the Renault with 23. Sparkplugs Nick in the Haas with 22. Shep and Ferrari with 19. And Spitcheck in the Racing Point with 18. That's the top 10. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
It looks like the game is predicting a 2-stop, which doesn't really seem that likely. Like, you definitely pull off a 1-stop going from soft to hards, but as you pointed out before, the hards might not have a lot of pace, so maybe a 2-stop could work, but...
I would say here that the 2-stop is the most probable for most of these runners. The thing about it's not that the 1-stop isn't possible, because there's certain tracks, say, what's a track where it's very difficult to do a 1-stop? I think tracks like China are pretty difficult to do a 1-stop, but they still can relatively work. Here, your tires actually last, even with the soft to hard, decently long enough, but the Sahards just don't have enough grip. They're too hard of a compound, so I think we're going to see a lot more of the 2-stops.
Yeah, definitely.
I think what's going to be interesting to see who can get the best run down to the line, because again, we got Nico John in P1. Nico John, who's been really consistent this season. He had a couple of issues with his hardware in the last race, but what can he do? What can he do against Nero? Who's going to get the better jump? Who's going to have the most grip into turn 1? I think that's likely not going to decide the race necessarily, but whoever is going to lose out into turn 1 is going to be on the back foot in the race.
Yeah, and this track doesn't have a lot of overtaking opportunities. Like, sure, you have the straights, but you pretty much need DRS.
You do.
With a combination of ERS just to make sure that you get that move.
That, and if the car ahead that you're trying to overtake has been doing good about harvesting their ERS, if they deploy strategically on that straight, they can still stay ahead.
And then when it comes to the longest straight on the track, halfway through it just starts to bend to the right, which makes it a bit more difficult to really calculate a move, because you're used to on a normal straight having a lot of room to wiggle it, but now that you have to keep your car going to the right to avoid hitting the wall, while also trying to overtake a guy who could probably take the better line and block you, it's just going to make it a whole lot harder.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that we're not going to see people doing, purposely blocking people, but the reality is that it is very tight. It is a little twisty there. It's not going to be easy, so we're probably going to see a little bit of wheel bang and a little bit of contact there, but I think the guys will keep it clean here. So we'll see, though. It's going to be an eventful race for sure. As the guys,
Definitely.
looks like Superman and McLaren are, finally on the grid. So we'll start the lights procedure here momentarily. Round 3, Vietnam. Five lights. Lights are out. Who gets the better jump? It looks like Nico John gets a slightly better jump.
But
and Nero.
There's contact.
Nero missed his breaking point.
The leader's touch, and that is definitely going to be frustrating for Nico and Nero.
So Nico John has no damage. Nero has no damage. What kind of penalty did he get?
Maybe it was contact at the start, but most likely it was them going off track.
Yeah, I think it was a 5-second penalty for contact. Okay, so let's go back to the front then. Who is at the front? It looks like Cheeseheads he's in P1. He's inherited the lead. Yeah, Grumpy's right behind him.
Now, is Grumpy going to try to overtake using Slipstream and DRS, or is he going to hold back and wait for DRS to be activated?
I'm not sure. I'm not exactly. He's kind of in a weird area in between. Let's see who else is making a move. Looks like Spoolin and P5 trying to make a move on Shep, but he gets passed by Bro Controller. Spoolin got on the brakes a little too early there.
Cheesehead goes a bit wide when it comes to that hairpin, and it looks like Grumpy's going to catch up, but as they enter Sector 3, not many overtaking points there, so he's probably going to have to wait.
He's going to have to hang back. So this is the part where, and Cheesehead puts it into the wall, and Grumpy's pass.
Damage on the front wing.
And Grumpy's pass. So I think Grumpy did well to be patient there. Shep is now just behind Cheesehead, but Cheesehead is jumping into the pits. So that's Grumpy, Monkey Pill, and Shep, P1, P2, and P3. So this is going really well for Shep and Team Ferrari in general.
Grumpy has had a great start when it comes to starting P5. Like, you had the lap 1 collision, then you have the guy ahead of you hitting the wall. That's just like everything to benefit you, but he's just got to keep it out of the wall and consistent now. And it looks like Shep overtakes Pro Controller.
He did, yeah. And for some reason, it looks like Monkey Pill is ghosting, but Monkey Pill is in P2. So Grumpy, P1, Monkey Pill, P2, Shep is in P3.
Now, I don't know if Monkey's having connection issues right now. It looks like...
It's the first few laps are always like a little bit, in terms of the timing for it, they're always a little bit glitchy. Once you get through this lap, I think it'll be fine. Yeah, so now you can see it, P1, P2, and P3 is correct now. So Shep does put it in the wall a little bit, and now he's under attack from Spoolin, because Spoolin got a clean exit. So now Spoolin...
Pro Controller got ahead, and it looks like Nero spun again, going into the second left-hander, and he spun.
He spun again in the roundabout. So let's go on board. Yeah, you can see Nero down there. Unfortunate for Nero, he's having a really tough day.
Definitely want to be a start that he's going to have to forget going to the next round, and so I'm anticipating how
Shep got past Spoolin. Nice move from Shep.
Shep almost hits the wall though into Sector 3.
He's flying by the seat of his pants, but he's making that Ferrari go fast. So Shep in P4.
He's still got pressure from Spoolin though, as he's only about 5/10 behind, and it looks like since DRS is most likely going to be activated, we might see a move attempted by Spoolin going into the second DRS zone.
And Grumpy sets the fastest lap, but then Monkey Pill just behind him beats him for the fastest lap. Oh, and now you have a penalty from Cheeseheads. So I'm not sure what happened there, but Cheeseheads making contact with Nero. So a tough day for Cheeseheads and Nero, who were starting near the front.
Nico starting to catch up when it comes to positions. He's definitely got a bit of a fire under his pants after he ends up getting taken out in turn 1.
Let's go on board with Nico. So this is Nico making a move for P11 on Nick.
Looks like he's passed.
He is. And now there's a whole bunch of cars ahead of him that I think he should be able to get past relatively easily with this pace.
He set a purple sector one time, so yeah, he's definitely going to be clawing back positions, and you know, he's just got to be patient around this because it might be frustrating. He's definitely going to be frustrated after that start, but if he can just be patient, wait for people to make mistakes, or just wait for the right opportunity, he's definitely going to be able to claw up to at least, I'd say, top 6, top 5.
I think so. And Nero is in the pits, I think, again.
He might be retiring, but I don't
think
that.
so. He's still moving. TSD puts it into the wall into hairpin, so that moves Nico up into 10th, and now he's making the move on Rusty. Rusty outbreaks himself, and he breaks his wing. So Rusty not being very patient there, but Nico John just hit the wall and lost his left end plate as well.
I think that was after Rusty got ahead of him, and he was just trying to avoid that collision.
He was. So Nico John straight into the pits. So what does he do here? Wow, that's very unfortunate for Nico John because he was almost past Rusty. Rusty did not want to give up the position.
Super goes into the pits.
It seemed like a really aggressive defense from Rusty considering that he was trying to beat the pole winner there. I mean, normally if you see the guy on pole running back through the field, you kind of make way because he's at a different pace level from you. But Rusty did not want to give it up.
That might be an incident report. We're definitely going to see an incident report between Nico and Nero, but already an incident-packed race as we start. And we're only on lap 4.
Yeah, lap 4 so far. So we got Grumpy in P1, Monkey Pill in P2, and Bro Controller in P3. So fairly close field, but it looks like the gaps are starting to be pulled out. We got Spoolin is the closest battle right now for P3. And who else is in the chat? T Widow's in the chat saying, yo, Team Ferrari in the house, let's go. Tac Delta not having a fun time, says Bacon Plays. Devin Pons is not a fan of the walls being this close to the track. I think we all agree. Axis is crying, not crying, but he's saying no to his boy Cheese, who got some wing damage. And then Salaya is saying, go Grumpy Old Cat Man. First place, he's a pro. We shall see. I think Grumpy's going to be the favorite to win as it stands at the moment. But Monkey Phil's staying with them, 8/10 behind.
And it looks like they have both gotten a sizable lead between them and Broken Shoulders in P3.
Yeah, so now that they're seeing this gap pulled out, I'm not sure exactly what their strategy is. But if I was Monkey Pill, I would just try to stay in that DRS range, and I might not even necessarily make a move, and just try to make my tires last. And as soon as Grumpy jumps into the pits, turn it up to 11 and try to do an overcut or something. But they're pulling out a really nice gap through the cars behind, so they can settle into a rhythm here and just continue driving clean laps. And if they can keep it clean, then the race is only going to be between them. If they battle too hard, they're going to let everyone catch up to them.
Monkey's also probably going to hope that he can play the mind game here by staying within DRS range and trying to force Grumpy to try to go faster but also take more risks. That would definitely be the more optimal option for Monkey. But
I think he's kind of doing that because even if he's not maybe exactly right behind Grumpy, he's still there. They're about 6-7 tenths behind. I think that's enough to put pressure on the car ahead, which is what he's doing now. He's got a great run out of the corner, so he's going to have the DRS here. He might be able to have a move here.
Going into the hairpin, I think he even deploys ERS. Yes, he does, but he's almost out of overtake.
He hangs back. He hangs back. So that's the patient move for Monkey. I think that's the right move.
Yeah, a dive bomb into that hairpin would definitely end badly for both of them, considering how tight that is.
That usually ends up with the car on the outside. Oh, and Grumpy has a little bit of contact with the wall. It looks like his wing is intact, but the pressure...
Might keep position, though.
He does keep the position, but the pressure's starting to get to Grumpy. So I think Monkey is in a great spot right here. Just to stay with him. Apply the pressure. Don't force the move. And the opportunity will come.
A little bit further down the field, it looks like Spoolin might be trying to attempt an overtake on Broken Shoulder for P3.
And Tac Delta is right behind Shep. This is the battle for P5. So Tac Delta, who was having a pretty tough qualifying in terms of getting the lap in, and now he's putting pressure on Shep for P5, so we'll see what he can do in that Alfa Romeo. I don't think a Ferrari is going to be too happy about the Alfa Romeo applying pressure, but Tac Delta's got the pace for it right now.
The oil can goes in the pits, I assume, due to wing damage.
And let's go back up to Monkey Pill. It looks like he was trying to make a move down into the hairpin for the roundabout, but not quite close enough. We'll go back to Tac and Shep. So Rusty in the pits again. He must have had the wing damage again. So tough race so far from Rusty. I know that when he has an incident-free race, he's going to be able to fight for the top 5, but unfortunately it's not happening here today. But you never know. Yeah, it could be a safety car late in the race. So yeah, Tack is making a move on Shep.
And it looks like he's going to get DRS, so I think he's going to make that move stick going to the hairpin, and yes, he does.
He does.
Shep retaining overtake, probably going to wait until the next lap.
And Spoolin and Bro Controller in the hairpin having quite the battle. Bro Controller was ahead. He got loose on the exit, and Spoolin made his move, so that's Spoolin up into P3. And Tack is able to make it stick, so that's Tack in P5 ahead of Shep. So nice job so far from Tack. Tack, who's a newer driver with us. He's been here all season, but he is a newer driver. So it's nice to see him fight for these top positions.
It was a very clean fight between both of them, so round of applause for both the drivers.
Yeah, and I think that's going to continue here throughout the race, so that'll be one to watch. Let's go back.
Monkey has overtaken Catman. Okay.
Yeah, so we missed that one, but let's go back on board with Grumpy. It must have happened, yeah, it must have happened during the long main straight with the DRS.
There's such a huge gap, though. I have to think Grumpy may have made another mistake in order to have about 8/10 when we went back to them. He has DRS, so he's definitely going to try to catch up. But
yeah, but so Monkey wasn't quite that far. He was at one point like 8/10 behind, but he was able to bring it down to about 6/10 in these roundabouts. So I think from 6/10 out, and then he ended up getting a better drive out of this roundabout. He was like 5/10 out, and then the DRS hit.
Spoolin's going to be hoping that they're going to be battling a lot, because he's now within 1.7 tenths when the gap was previously 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, but check this out. So Monkey Pill used up all of his ERS to get by Grumpy, and then Grumpy still has most of his ERS. So I think Grumpy has been playing this a little bit better, in my opinion.
Grumpy makes a move on the straight, and it looks like he's going to retake P1, but goes a bit wide on the hairpin, and Monkey Pill is going to retake the position.
He does go wide, so that's the tricky part, is when you take that outside line, and it looks like Grumpy was just being a courteous there, so to speak. He was leaving that inside lane for Monkey just in case to avoid any kind of contact, but he's caught out by his own driving there. Ended up on the curb, and that curb will pull you off.
And now Spoolin's probably smelling blood in the water, as he's now within 6 to 5/10 of Monkey. I mean, not Monkey, Grumpy.
And Grumpy into the pits. So, yeah, it looks like so it looks like these the front runners are gonna switch out. Now, will they go to the softs or will they go to the medium? I think the strategy is soft, medium, soft. In my opinion, is going to be the prevailing strategy. So it looks like Grumpy. Yep, they're both going on medium tires.
Monkey Pill staying out for another lap. Will Grumpy and Spoolin be able to perform the undercut successfully?
I think the undercut can be strong here, but the other thing to keep in mind is that Monkey does have clear air, so it's not like he's being impeded right now. It's going to be close.
Tacked out to staying out. Move up 12 positions since the start, but as we see him enter the pits, we're probably going to see an exit around P6, P5, maybe P7.
Yeah, so great race so far from Tack. Great race so far from Monkey. Best Pawns and Sully as well. Let's go on board with Sully. He's just been keeping his nose... Yeah, Alpha's having a great day, right?
Yeah. Well, it looks like he has a slight bit of wing damage, but I think he's just going to try to nurse that until his pit stop.
Well, considering that he does have wing damage, he's been doing an incredible job to put that Alfa Romeo in 4th place so far. He is going to fall back in the order once he does pit, so the cars are a little bit out of sequence, but I think with that being said, he's been doing a great job.
We have Nico up to P8 as he is on mediums now, so I wonder how his pit strategy is going to change his position in the race. He's definitely going to go out for a bit longer.
And it looks like Rusty just got past Shep, so nice move from Rusty. But now Shep is going to have the DRS. Monkey Pill getting a 5-second penalty.
Oh, I think, yeah, he might have gotten too fast in the pits.
And it looks like Shep was trying to make a move down the inside of the hairpin, but Rusty, with the elbows out, holding it around the outside. So nice driving from Rusty.
I think... Pit straight is a bit long, and yeah, it looks like Grumpy will be able to go back into P1 as Spoolin is right behind him with DRS.
So let's go back up to Grumpy.
But, oh, no, it looks like Monkey is actually still in P1.
Just ahead. Just ahead. It comes out just ahead, so that was very, very close. And it looks.
He does have that 5 seconds.
It looks like. What car was that? I believe Superman hit the wall in Sector 3. Oh, and McLaren gets a penalty for speeding into the pits.
This new regulation that forces you to have pit assist turn off is definitely catching out some of the drivers here.
It is. There's another one. Nero, 5 seconds speeding into the pits. So, tough day for Nero.
Yeah, Monkey Phil's going to be frustrated, and I think that 5 second time penalty is going to cost him when it comes to the final standings, but who knows, maybe he'll be able to pull off a 6 second gap to keep his lead, but knowing the pace of Grumpy and Spool, and I doubt that.
I doubt it, because there's on such similar pace. If you're on similar pace to somebody, you need to be right there to think about a move. If you're like 5 seconds behind, how do you find more pace than your max pace? You know what I mean? So it's going to be really tough for Monkey Pill to climb back here. But it also depends. It also depends because Grumpy could also get caught out in battling with Spoolin too hard. And that could allow Monkey Pill to come back as well.
We never know.
So Superman making a move down the order on Sparkplugs down the straight. So that's a nice move from Superman. He does go wide though. And I think Sparkplug's going to be able to take the position back. And he does. So that's Sparkplug's holding on the 12th. Nice move for Sparkplugs. And it looks like Monkey Pill is trying to get around the best spawns. Monkey Pill is not going to be happy here because Monkey Pill does have a penalty, but he's going to have to serve, so he needs to pick up the pace right now, and he's getting held up by Best Pawns who hasn't pit.
Pawns is on a different strategy, so he might be going for a one-stop, but...
Well, you would think if he's on a different strategy that he would have let Monkey Pill just through, but now they're both losing time to each other.
Yeah, and you have Grumpy and Spoolin right behind.
Right behind,
too.
yeah.
They're definitely going to be tempted to try to make a move, but you got to remember, Monkey with the net P1 has a penalty, so you don't necessarily need to pass him on the track, but they probably will pass him when it comes to the final time standings.
So Monkey Pill Best Pawns, probably giving him a nice little hand gesture on his way past him.
Grumpy, ooh, it looks like we have 3 cars that almost went 3 wide into the hairpin, but it looks like Pawns backed out as we see Grumpy.
Then he put it in neutral, so... Oh, and Best Pawns. I'm not sure what happened with Best Pawns, but he's in the wall. Did you catch that?
He spun, exiting the hairpin, and yeah, that's definitely going to be a change to his strategy here, as his wing looks pretty messed up.
But to be fair to Best Pawns, he's already done... This will be his 10th lap on those tires, so if he was going for the one-stop, it's still possible.
Now, it looks like Grumpy tried to overtake into the hairpin, but ended up messing up a little bit, and Pawns, maybe to avoid him, went onto the curb, and as he was accelerating out of the apex, he ended up losing the rear end. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I think he was putting the power down a little too aggressively on that curb out there, and there's not a whole lot of grip out there. So Shep picking up a time penalty.
Multiple warnings.
So who's up in the chat? Yuppie's in the chat. He said he's rooting for Nico. I think everyone's rooting for Nico. Tough day so far, but I think he's got a nice recovery here. King IGD is in the chat saying Alpha for the win. Yep. Deno is saying Rip Cheese. Agreed. And I think it's Spitcheck saying you got this, Best Pawns.
That is like milk.
Trying to nice the leaders. Not sure what Devin Pons is saying. Alright, so yeah, so P1 we got Monkey Pill, P2 we got Grumpy, P3 we got Spoolin just behind. So how do you see this race playing out? Who do you see with the advantage here? A little bit of contact from Spoolin to the back of Grumpy, but very minor.
I think the advantage lays to Grumpy and Spoolin, so while Monkey Pill is on the same strategy as they are when it comes to tires, again with that 5 seconds.
He's going to come out behind him.
Definitely.
Whenever they pit.
So, I'm looking at YouTube, and apparently there's another performance racing league out there, but it's called the Power Racing League. That was odd.
What, did they comment in the chat or something?
No, I was just searching up PRL Tier 2 because I wanted to get in the live stream. And there's also a Platinum Racing League, so definitely a lot of PRLs out there.
Oh yeah, we're going to get our whole team of litigators on that right away. Gave him a cease and desist like they've never seen before. We'll give him the most beautiful cease and desist that's ever been cease and desisted.
We're turning into Nintendo when it comes to DMCA.
Exactly. So Monkey Pill still in P1. Grumpy in P2, Spoolen in P3. Who else do we see? It looks like Best Pawns is starting to make a move on Superman. Best Pawns who had wing damage, and now he's way down in 13th.
Devin Pons commented in chat during the pits that he's trying to be nice to the leaders. Yeah, I think...
But if you were trying to be nice to the leaders, why didn't you just let him by in the first place? That's what I don't understand. But anyway, he got caught out by it on his own, unfortunately, so it only hurt him in the end.
Looks like Grumpy's starting to catch up by a couple tenths to Monkey as we see a yellow flag in Sector 3, and that appears to be McLaren. Yeah, he's lost his front wing.
Oh, that's unfortunate for McLaren, and I'm on board with Rusty. So Rusty is 5 tenths behind Shep for P7, and it looks like there's a VSD.
Safety car. And I think McLaren DNF'd may have been terminal damage there, but...
Yeah, it is. So we'll go on board with Spoolen. You can see it on the left. Yeah. McLaren's car looks like it's up on bricks or something. The tires are completely off.
Somebody nicked their tires.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it was sold for, like...
A lot. So does anyone pit?
I don't think that you would really pit in this situation. Like, your tires are already good enough, and pitting now, you would probably have to go onto hards in order to get to the end. And as we said before, the hards are just not compatible with this track. So
no, but if you were on the first set of mediums still, this would be a nice time to switch to the softs for the first stop.
Probably.
But no one is in that position.
VSDs are very finicky when it comes to having to pit. You have to pit near the end where you're still in the pits during the VSC, but as you leave, it's over.
Yeah. You only get like half the advantage.
Yeah. Which is why I believe a lot of the drivers get really frustrated when a race is full of VSCs, but not a single safety car.
Yeah, because you can't always take advantage of the VSC like a safety car with the pits. You're right. So
the time limit is really annoying.
McLaren, the first DNF of the day, unfortunate for McLaren, but he got caught out in that treacherous S section in Sector 3. So we've got Monkey Pill in P1, Grumpy in P2, Spoolen in P3.
Now I wonder what type of strategy Spoolen's going to do, because he definitely might be able to catch up to Grumpy to a point where he could overtake on the straights, but he may not want to do that. He may want to wait until near the end, since Monkey Pill has that 5-second time penalty, and then try to capture P1.
And Best Pawns, as you're saying that, Best Pawns makes a move on Sparkplugs, and he's up into P11. But yeah, I agree with you, because I think the strategy here, I mean, if you ask me, is for whoever your fight is against, because obviously you can't just pick up the pace and fight for P1 if you're in, around P5 or something. But whoever you're fighting, if you kind of just stay with them in the slipstream, build up your ERS and try to save that and use that strategically to make a move, maybe a little bit later in the race.
It's really something that really leads to these races being very captivating, as the drivers really have to make decisions that could make or break the races. And, while overtaking Grumpy could allow them to make sure that Monkey doesn't give such a big gap that the penalty would be negated, as he currently has really good pace. If you wait to the end, you lose the risk of perhaps accidentally causing a collision, but you also might lose out on a possible P1, so it's definitely something that he's going to have to consider a lot as we're around the halfway point of the race.
Yeah, you're right. So it's one of those where the strategy called, what do you do? Do you push? Do you hold back? Sometimes holding back, and other times you held back in the beginning, and then in the end now he's too far away, and you feel, well, maybe I should have pushed. It's hard to say. Hindsight's always going to be 20/20, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how the strategy plays out, because I think we're seeing a little bit of mix of both. It looks like Grumpy and Spoolen are conserving a hair, and then you have cars like Monkey Pill who are pushing really hard.
Rusty has spun out in the second roundabout as we see the Best Pawns starting to catch up to him, and he may be able to get back in the top 10.
Yeah, so Rusty having a really tough day, but his wing is still intact, so he'll continue. And Nico John spun into the hairpin.
Still a P7 as Shep overtakes him.
Yeah, he's still in P7. Doesn't look like he has wing damage, so I'm not sure. It looks like he lost the rear end completely under braking.
Probably just lost traction.
Seems like it.
And Nico John so far has had a great recovery drive. If he can get into the top 6, I would say that would be a great performance, or at least a great salvage performance from what happened at the start.
Yeah, so he's less than a second behind Shep in P6, and then TAC Delta is another 10 seconds up the road. I think it's possible for Nico John to catch TAC Delta, considering what his qualifying pace was, but we'll have to see how that plays out.
Shep has a time penalty, and it looks like Nico John is going to look to overtake Shep going into turn 1, and it does look like that he's performed the move going around the roundabout. Let's see who will keep the better track position here.
Yeah, nice move from Nico John. So that's Nico John up to P6. Joe's in the chat saying, what's going on? What's up, Joe? How you doing?
I mean, it looks like the top 3 are starting to get bigger gaps to each other. Spoon is now 1.2 seconds. Maybe there was a mistake, or maybe that just shows the pace that Grumpy currently has trying to overtake Monkey, but Monkey just starting to increase his gap a lot.
He's really focused in. He's zoned in, and he's just setting really clean and consistent laps. So he's doing a great job so far. It's possible with what he's doing right now, he can still fight for P1 in the end. He's got to continue to push. But we're on board with Sully. Sully's in P9 behind TESD fighting for P8.
Both have DRS, so
he
it
does,
looks like...
But Sully's got the better run. He's going to try and move around the outside. He gets squeezed out a little bit.
Tight squeeze there.
And he puts the power down too hard.
Clip that curb on the exit, that little tiny curb they see near the wall, and just...
And now he's doing the Austin Powers-esque.
I'm sorry to laugh.
Yeah, sorry, Sully. Hang in there, buddy. All right, let's see what else is happening at the moment. So TESD, nice, Joe. Safe travels, buddy. Be careful out there, and we'll see you. We'll see you at the next one. So
how are you able to watch this while in a car? Like, I always get motion sick whenever I watch something on my phone in the car.
Oh, and Nico John spun in turn 1. The exit of turn 1.
I mean, it looks like he's still has the front wing intact.
It looks like it was like a half pirouette, and he was able to just about stop it before he hit the wall.
But Sparkplug has just overtaken him. Nico John is down into P11.
So, what is your take on this race so far from Nico John, considering he was on pole?
It's just been a series of up and down. Being, of course, turn 1, but he's constantly been able to claw back up, but he just keeps on making mistakes that are probably due to the pressure of just trying to keep catch up to the car ahead. I mean, it's just, he's got to get into that zone that we currently see Monkey Pill in, where he's just got to keep it consistent, be patient, and just try to keep the car in a straight line.
I will say this, that the gap from Monkey Pill on Rusty making a move on Best Bonds into the hairpin. A little bit of contact there. A little bit of contact. I'm not it looks like Rusty did push him out a little bit, but I think it's more of the nature of the circuit, how it's really hard to go too wide there. But yeah, so Monkey Pill was like 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, and Grumpy's been able to pull that gap down to about a 2.2, 2.3 second gap. So I think Grumpy's doing well to stay with them. And then Rusty did eventually get by Best Bonds there, so that's Rusty up into P8.
We also have the pit stops to take into consideration. Like, Monkey Pill, his best chance at ensuring P1 is just to hope that Grumpy and Spoolin end up getting a 5-second time penalty from pit entrance, which is unlikely.
That or for Grumpy and Spoolin to end up fighting amongst each other and leaving Monkey Pill to get further and further away.
But Grumpy just continues to increase that lead from Spoolin, and I believe Spoolin has tried to keep the patient game throughout this race so far.
So let's go on board. I'm gonna go on board TSD. TSD is in P7. He's trying to chase down Shep in P6. This has been quite the battle here. And it looks like Shep has wing damage. Yeah, Shep's got wing damage. He's missing that front left end plate.
And the time penalty, so that's definitely going to hurt him when it comes to the final standings. And TSD definitely going to have DRS, and he's going to deploy overtake, try to get that slipstream, and he's probably going to try to make a move into the hairpin. Let's see.
I would imagine that Shep's not going to fight this one too hard, but he does hang it around the outside, so Shep holding on to the position.
I think T backed out a little bit there because that hairpin can be treacherous. And it looks like the best pawns made a mistake and probably went a bit too deep and went to the runoff area, but able to keep it in one piece.
Yep, so nice driving from Pons to hold it together there, because that's where he, I think that's where he, didn't he spun earlier there, I think, or went into the wall. I forget exactly what happened from going a little bit too wide out there.
Yeah, he was in the top 4 due to the amount of drivers. I believe he was trying to give space to Grumpy, who had went to his inside, went wide, accelerated a bit too much, hitting the curb.
On the curb,
looks like he's hitting.
So he might have got wing damage, and he gets another penalty into the pits. So unfortunate for Best Pons. It's most likely going to be a 5-second penalty that will be applied after the race. I don't think you can serve it.
Out.
Yeah, I don't think you can serve it.
It looks like Monkey made a mistake. Monkey is now down in P3, so...
Yeah, we missed that one completely, but now he is 6.3 seconds behind Spolin, who is 1.8 seconds behind Grumpy. So everything's seeming to work out really nicely for Grumpy and Spolin. And here's the thing, Monkey, now if he pits, he's going to fall even further behind because he's going to have to serve a 5-second penalty.
Yeah, and Spolin, he's now going to have fire under his pants because there's only 10 laps remaining, and he's got a decent gap to Grumpy, so...
Yeah, so now he knows Spolin, if he pushes now, it's the fight for the lead. It's not just the fight for P2. So TESD, it looks like he's making a move on Shep on the back straight, and he gets passed on the inside, but he outbrakes himself. TESD outbrakes himself, puts it in the wall. Monkey gets another penalty. Speeding in the pit lane.
And it looks like the Best Pawns or Cheese. Cheese has spun on the DRS straight. Spins it back around. He lost the front end plate, though, on his left-hand side of the wing. Maybe, like...
On the exit?
I'm not sure. I mean, the exit was pretty far behind where he spun. Maybe he started to get a bit of a wobble on the exit, tried to correct it, but ended up just losing it anyway.
So let's see what the gap to the leader is here. Okay, so Monkey Pill is now 40-something seconds behind. Or how much time is he behind? 38 seconds behind the leader. And it looks like... Who is that? Bo Controller had a moment.
I think he spun around the roundabout.
He spun around the roundabout and he broke his wing. So I think a podium is possible here for TAC. It depends on how it all works out, but it looks like TAC might be able to put the pressure on Monkey Pill in the end there.
I think we're going to see blue flags deploy for Cheeseheads as the leaders start to approach him after Cheesehead's little incident. Yeah, and this is why we have ghosting on, just to make this whole process a lot easier as Cheesehead goes into the pits.
So that, yeah, definitely. It's always horrible to see a leader get taken out by a lap car. Not necessarily due to dirty driving, but just because sometimes the lap car doesn't know what to do in a situation and kind of gets frozen up. So Grumpy P1, seconds behind. He just pit though, so...
Second time penalty that Monkey Pill currently has.
Let me stop it and start it again. See if that helps.